In 2017, the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees started phasing out one refugee community from refugee protection.
ကလည်းအခုပြန်သိမ်းနေဆိုတော့အဲ့ဒီမျိုးလင်းချက်တွေအကုန်လုံးကိုကလေးတယောက်ရဲ့မျိုးလင်းချက်ကိုရိုက်ချိုးပစ်တယ်လို့ပဲလေ
။ဒါမရှိရရင်ကပြန်ပြီးတော့ဟိုပဲစီယုံစီခံရလဲစီအားကြီးရတယ်ကျွန်တော်အခုတမီးလေးနဲ့ပတ်သက်ပြီးရ
This is the story of how that community came together to change that decision.
Today I bring my fellow refugees to express your case and here before you and all the media. Stop discrimination!
Stop discrimination!
Respect my right!
Respect my right!
Are you checking me?
Yeah. Yeah. Already.
Check the one.
Which one?
It's very nice.
Chin State is quite. It's a very beautiful place, right?
Actually very beautiful, but because but not developed. That one is like very, how would I say? Even transportation is very bad. So the people easily cannot come in very easily because like every raining season there's always landslide.
At what age did you leave Chin State?
What age?
Yeah.
Until when I was 15 years old, because 16 I arrived in Malaysia. Yeah, because I came to Malaysia because I was in orphanage. Then I had no relative at all in Myanmar because if they in orphanage they just responsible until like we finish high school. Then after that we have to find our way. But then if I went back to Chin State at the time, like there was child soldier recruitment. It was so famous, and like I heard that like there was some conflicts going on over there, and like at the same time I wanted to see my mom. I heard that my mom is in Malaysia, so then for me I got no choice at all. So I decided just to go to Malaysia.
You've talked to me about your dream before.
Well, yeah, I never forget that dreams. I want to be, peacemaker. I want to be the father of peace, and at the same time, yeah, for sure, I will be president
of
Myanmar. But then when I look at, it's just dream. But then when I think, the process that I will have to go, it's a bit hard. But then, as I always say that I like challenge in my life. I don't want to see my people becoming like a refugee in other countries. Okay, not only Chins. If we look at there's like 7 ethnic groups in Malaysia, in Myanmar. They all become a refugee in other countries like Kachin, Mun, Rakhine, Shan, Karens, Chin, Rohingya. They all become a refugee in other countries. It's shameful of the government. So you just have these peoples, and like if they cannot live with these people in harmony. Gonna wait. We are in Ipoh. It's a refugee man. He's from Chins, and then he's suffering. They are getting problems about their daughter's operations, so because they don't have any legal document or like a UNHCR, so because their cat have been resized by UNHCR, so now they're getting trouble. So now we are visiting their family.
ကျွန်တော်မလေးရှားကို2017လပိုင်းမှာချင်းပြည်မှာနေတဲ့ကျွန်တော်တို့နေတဲ့နေရာမှာကျွန်တော်နေတရားမဝင်အစိုးရပိုင်းဟွာမှာနေထိုင်နေဆိုပြရမှာမတရားနှိစက်ပြရမှာတားမယ်ဖြတ်မယ်လို့ပြမြေအင်ရာတွေတင်းပြရမှာမြေရှာမရှိလို့ကျွန်တော်မလေးရှားကိုလာရတာဖြစ်တယ်မလေးရှားလာ
Manatang met his wife here in Malaysia, and they started a family together.
UN ကရတာ2013မှာရတယ် UN ကUN ကရတဲ့အချိန်ကျွန်တော်မိမနဲ့UN ကရတဲ့အချိန်စပြီးကျွန်တော်ကတော့ရေးပါရောနော်အဖအရှိကနေလည်းကျွန်တော် လောလာလာလာဟိုနေထိုင်လို့ရတယ် UN ကရတဲ့အချင်းအခုကျွန်တော်ကလေးအဲ့လိုအခုလိုမေးဖွားတဲ့အချိန်မှာလဲ UN ကရှိလို့ UN ကအကူအညီလို့ UN နဲ့ရှိုံရှိခန်းကအဲ့လိုဆွေးနွေးကူညီမှုကြောင့် UN ကရှိတဲ့အချိန်မှာတော့အရှင်းပြေးတယ်အတန်းဟန်ဆိုစ조사ပြရှင်းပြေးတယ်အခု UN ကပြန်တင်းလိုက်တော့ကျွန်တော်အနေနဲ့အလုပ်လုပ်လို့လည်းအချင်းတိမပြေတော့ဘူးအလုပ်လုပ်တဲ့အချိန်မှာလည်းရဲတွေကခဏခဏ gas မရှိတော့လို့ရဲတွေကခဏခဏဖမ်းကြတယ်ဖမ်းအဲ့ချင်း UN ကသူတို့ပြန်တင်းတော့ကျွန်တော်အတွက်အကောင်းဆုံးအခက်အခဲတွေ့ရတယ်
This was the start of what would later be known as the cessation process. UNHCR was phasing out refugee protections for the Chin community, who come from northeast Myanmar and number about 30,000 in Malaysia. Almost all Chin asylum seekers who sought to renew their UNHCR cards were being rejected.
It was 2017. Since 2017, it has been started, and like 2015, they started stopping all funding to Chin refugee communities. So, and then I realized, okay, something is moving. I was in IOM at the time. I was in IOM, just interpreter. So like I got so many friends. So whenever we have dinners, like some people they share their neighbors or something, because they said approaching community was useless. So could you help us something? So some of cases come to me.
ပြောပြတော့ကျွန်တော်ဟိုဖြည့်ဆိုတဲ့ဟာတော့သူ RST ဖြည့်ဆိုတဲ့နေရာမှာကျွန်တော်ကဒီလိုတမ်းဖတ်ထားတဲ့ဟောပေါ်မှာတော့မဝင်လို့သူတို့ပြောတဲ့ပုံစံနဲ့သူတို့တမ်းဖတ်ထားတဲ့ပေါ်မှာဝင်လို့အဲ့လိုပြောကြတယ်ပေါ်မှာဝင်ဖို့ဆိုပြီးတော့သူပြေချတာကျွန်တော်တို့မြန်မာပြည်ပြန်လို့ရတယ်ဘာညာအဲ့လိုမျိုးပြောပြတယ်
Theirs is not the only refugee family affected. Lalfima's family had their cards withdrawn in January 2018.
နင်တို့ကကိုနင်တို့ case ကိုငါတို့ reject လုပ်ပလိုက်ပြီတဲ့နင်ဖြေတဲ့အဖြေကမအောင်မှုနင်စံပွဲကြပါတယ်ဆိုပြီးတော့နင်တို့ပြန်လို့ရပြီအဲ့ဒါမျိုးတွေကျွန်တော်ပြန်လို့ရပြီဆိုရင်နင်ဘာတက်တိတ်ပြမှာလဲဒါဆိုခမရအာမခံလားဆိုတော့အာမမခံဘူးတဲ့အဲ့အာမခံချက်ရေးပေးနိုင်မလားခမရလိုက်ပို့မလားဆိုတော့လိုက်မပို့နိုင်ဘူးအဲ့ဒါမျိုးတွေပေါ့
We set out to document this situation, speaking to over 50 Chin refugees, all of whom tell the same story. UNHCR did not renew their cards, with the reason being that their home state is now safe for return. No other refugee communities in Malaysia reported a similar experience.
They start rejecting last year now until it's about 6,000 are already rejected.
Mangkat is the chairman of the Alliance of Chin Refugees, one of the most prominent Chin organizations in Malaysia.
Monthly we have 100 to 130 is arrested, and this time is no negotiate. We cannot do anything. We can't assist anything. Now they just send to the camp, and then only way is deportation.
Here's why the UNHCR card is so important to refugees. Refugees are people who fled their country to escape persecution. But the Malaysian government does not officially recognize refugees. It views them as illegal immigrants who are arrested, penalized, and deported. However, refugees who register with UNHCR have their asylum claims assessed by officers there and are issued cards that identify them as persons of concern. Malaysian authorities usually respect the card and do not detain cardholders. This encourages businesses to employ cardholders informally, which allows them to earn a living. Through agreements with the government, UNHCR cardholders also do not have to pay the full foreigner's fare at public hospitals. So when these cards are not renewed, these refugees essentially become illegal immigrants with no rights whatsoever.
In our assessment, the situation in Chin State is quite different. There is a long period of relative peace and stability. People are able to go about their business of living, practicing their religion in a safe and fair way. So in our assessment, the conditions that would normally produce refugees no longer exist.
However, there continues to be reports of conflict and human rights abuse in Chin State.
And in Buddhist-majority Myanmar, they have faced decades of oppression under military rule.
The Chin State borders the conflict-ridden Rakhine State, and the violence has spilled over as recently as November 2017. In early 2018, a report by United Nations Special Rapporteur raised questions about the security of Chin State. There is simply very little trust in the government of Myanmar, who perpetrated violence against the Chins for years.
I don't think that Myanmar can be considered a safe country yet for any ethnic minority.
Lillian Fan is a refugee rights advocate for over 10 years. Her work involves engaging with Southeast Asian governments, including Myanmar, about refugee issues.
Even though there's been a ceasefire agreement with the Myanmar government, you see massive displacement in many of these areas as well. You see a lot of poverty, which has also been an effect of the long-running conflicts. And the level of trust in the Myanmar military in particular, but also I think in the Myanmar government's ability to take forward the ceasefire process into a real lasting peace process is not very high.
Our assessments are constantly being re-evaluated. If there is a significant change for the worse, of course that would impact on our approach. I mean, we're not here to deny refugees protection. We're here to find sensible approaches that match the realities of countries of origin with the need for refugee protection. That's a constant and evolving process.
But the human impact of this decision is profound. Manatang's first daughter was born with serious organ abnormalities, with her kidneys outside her body and holes in her heart. Multiple surgeries were needed to keep her alive, but she still needs regular medical attention and heart surgery. Without a UNHCR card, they simply cannot cope.
Cắt lẽ aku pian tây này suro, ari miolin chết đi, aku long rồi, cái lý theo em miolin cho dạy chụp biết được luôn vậy, xin nhà mà là tây mà là lẽ aku lo gì mà mất đi rồi, alu biết xây ra cả, aku tala nala thôi mà lâu quá aku piang lẽ lại đó, alu đi qua đó, nó, chuyện này chỉ cái nhà là này mà nhà là này.
Pian lo ya bị rồi cho nó familia nhà bị pian lo xem bulu cú ta làm cho nó mà người gì bulu mà xem gì mà cho nó nhà bị pian lo xem nó cho nó đi mà bảo vệ người khác pian nhà lo xem đi mà về tan hay số cú ta mà cho nó hòa xem ra thằng nhưng mà tu tế bị em nhiều là cho nó mà dùng bu pian này mà pian xem bu nó
Quay xịn hàng đọc giảng không nó nên chết ta là vô nó
She said if we can do operation, I thought there will be death normal.
သမီးလေးကိုပြန်ခွဲစိတ်နိုင်ရင်ပြန်ကောင်းမယ်လို့မျှော်လင့်ချက်ထားပြည်နယ် UN ကစာပြန်တင်တာကိုပြန်လက်ခံပေးပြီးပါမှာUN ကပြန်ပေးပြီးမှာနော်ငါလည်းကိုခိုင်းရင်တော့ကောင်းမှတင်တာ
ဒီကလေးတွေရဲ့ရှေ့ရေးကလုံးဝကိုလမ်းပိတ်တော့တာပေါ့တကယ်ကိုမျောလင်းချက်ရှိတဲ့ကလေးတွေပဲဒါပေမဲ့ကျွန်တော်ကအခုချိန်မှာဘာသွားမျောလင်းတော့မှလဲဘာတွေလုတ်ပေးရတော့မလဲကျွန်တော်ဘာမှလည်းလုတ်ပေးလို့မရအယောင်ကိုစိတ်ဓာတ်ကျပြီးတော့ဒီချိန်မှာတော့မဟုတ်တာတွေလည်းလုံမိမှာအရန်ကြောက်တယ်ကိုယ့်အကူ
Now, there are humanitarian and human issues around there, and clearly that's why we're not abandoning this group of people. We're saying, look, even if you're not refugees, we will continue to work with your communities to try and find solutions that work. We're not here to sugarcoat the reality. Sugarcoating of reality causes families to make wrong decisions about their families, and we are not going to be placing families in harm's way by making wrong decisions.
So after you heard many of these kind of cases, what did you do?
I couldn't do anything, so rather than blaming the leaders, I decided to quit my job and join a community organization so that I can get some position. Because when I was in IOM, we were under UNHCR, right? So if we against something to UNHCR, then of course we will be fired. I decided to quit my job and volunteers in refugee organizations. I won the elections on May 29th in Asia. And then June 13th, they announced sensation. So for me, it was like, okay, how bad luck I was.
This is the letter that they are providing and announced yesterday, especially for the Chin ethnic group. The heading is Community Messaging on Chin Cessation Process. Cessation process means you define that you are no more refugee. You are not as a refugee, then we don't need to provide anything. Just go.
Before this, Chin asylum seekers were unable to renew their UNHCR cards. But this cessation announcement basically says that Chin people will no longer be considered refugees, and all refugee protections for them will end on 31st December 2019. Chin people were offered two options: to accept that they will no longer be protected by 31st December 2019, or to apply for continued protection and risk losing that protection immediately if that application is rejected.
Well, refugee protection is designed for refugees. If you're not a refugee, you're not entitled to international refugee protection. It's a fairly asinine statement, but it's very true. If you don't need refugee protection anymore, then UNHCR can't continue to provide that rather important, exclusive area of work that we do. Now, we should be welcoming, not condemning the changes in a country that allow people to think about going home. I mean, that's the objective, is to get people back to their homes and their communities and the cultures that they know and love.
After they announced, we had ICC meeting, or Chin leaders meeting, and so we decided to have demonstrations. I think a bit strong, I guess. Strong. Yeah. It's gonna be the first time Chin people have demonstrations in other country. So it was a bit risky. At some I was afraid actually, but then I used to say that let my life be equal to like 10 people's life or my people's. The whole night I print out all the signboard, the protest signs until 1 a.m. like 2 a.m. something. The first time I feel shy and then I feel afraid because actually leading those kind of protests was actually I could be in danger. I could be arrested anytime. I'm afraid that if my people make some problems, if the demonstrations turn into violence, then I will be in trouble. Okay, No, we're gonna talk. No, we're gonna talk. We don't need any representative to talk. Today we're gonna talk. It's our turn to talk. Okay, message to UNHCR. Today I bring my fellow refugees to express your case and here before you and all the media. Please respect our rights and our needs. Do not discriminate us. Do not discriminate us. Stop discrimination.
Stop discrimination.
Respect my right.
Respect my right.
I left everything behind, so I just care for my people because at the time if they ask me, we will chop your head for your people when you die, then I will say yes. Because when I look at the children, you saw the people like the students, so pitiful, Many people they stop their education, and they work for money because like their parents said, yes, UNHCR will be responsible for anything for us, so it's better to work for money. A lot of things at the time I really lost my mind for myself.
There were 200 very responsible men, women and kids who appeared quietly and peacefully, and I met with a delegation of their leaders and we had a very good chat for about an hour to go through the concerns that they had. We had a very good discussion about what we've got in mind in terms of the timetables and plans ahead. We invited them to come up with their strategies and their plans for the future for their communities, and we're waiting to hear what they think. There's a broad recognition that we can't go on in the way that we have for the last 30 years. There is no reason to protect some groups in the way that we have in the past. There aren't the resources to be able to do that. And now is a time where everybody needs to gauge the new reality.
Within days of the protests, the Malaysian Immigration Department launched a nationwide crackdown on undocumented migrants. ACR reported 13 Chin refugees arrested during these raids. Around the same time, we received reports that a Chin man died falling from this corridor. His friends claim he killed himself out of desperation. That night, they heard him leave the house. The next morning, his body was found on the ground floor.
Phone khai nun kan nu phone karun phone. Hey, himi chending ko block 3 simi pakhat.
UN bang liu di ka sei dua. Achan su UN ami unlock sak ma tang to khanin. Di tin tan na thona hen soi sia kan pan kan su china UN in le khan unlock sak suan unlock sak suan empty ne ko ma. Ege ka tiang ko ala ka ho thei bok si lo. Dear
kawan bililah dia sini tidur, dia baju barang-barang sini taruhlah, barang semua saya semalam semua buang. Dia suramah, tarama barang tengok-tengok poin kita hati tarasalah macam barang semua semalam semua buang.
Since the cessation policy was announced with regard to the Chins, we from HEI actually have noticed an increased level of depression, anxiety and stress, particularly depression, and also suicidal ideation. What we have found out through our refugee community health workers, Chins themselves, that there's also a word that they are now using, hopelessness. Hopelessness actually is the turning point towards suicide and suicidal ideation. Once a person loses hope, there is a spiral towards thinking about ending life.
Thì này rồi rê la, cái này chọn cần phải thiam lo và hun po cần thì lo vậy nè, lần ba cần bắt hiền, thì này hiền rồi cần chung hiền rồi rồi rê hiền cần phải thiam lo thiền, mai rồi chỉ phải cái Giêsu Christa thì sen vàng á, để na chẳng tu cần nhà vàng cần lo mấy thế là lo tu cần chịu.
Pu là nè cho nó ruột tầm nhiều đấy, tay hoa đấy, zakal là tụt chas là tụt bộ. Yang khán giả rồi bộ, cái sao đấy phía làm mẹ sura rồi chú rồi tì đấy mẹ, tân niệm hậu tân niệm rồi phía làm mẹ sura rồi chú rồi tì đấy mẹ, khu lối yêu địa gì miền san san như phía làm mẹ rồi, mà thêm một lệ nữa rồi, yang khán giả đấy bộ.
A large community of Chins work in the farms of Cameron Highlands. Since the announcement of the cessation, they've grown increasingly worried.
Interview ni yo photo khansa na mi tin ho ga chin atana khansa do ko do shom khom yang
Yung kam kata la Afrika la khya om ha so di ma ya ti nam ya na bai ha so cái mà là bên mình ta sử dụng là nhiều lạc ở nào là cái này sử dụng con là cái này pin ác thì có
phải chance
coi chỉ số chỉ mình sẽ ăn trứng thay là luôn chỉ mình ăn mình bị cái thấu in đi phá thấu cho nên là ăn mình coi những ưu một này mình hai bị được này xí mình bị này ăn trứng thay đó
The fear of arrest is so strong that many refugee families choose to stay in the forest to avoid enforcement raids at night.
That's all. And then the family have to sleep here. Okay. And I saw another house over there, so that's another family's house, I guess.
Chiều cái máy mở bảng này. Về im cái sáng na về operasi pelikal cao alo cái chân na khơi mưa chân bự ba họ nung chini amanep khama cái ibia cái ib chimila.
But these hideouts are hardly safe. In October 2018, a landslide buried 2 of these shacks. 3 Chin workers were buried alive.
Kawan cakap operasi sudah malik itu macam cakap sini rumah bikin satu malam saja itu. Tapi malam pagi itu macam lah pagi tanah jatuh saya bikin sini. Chính đây mưa tùng nay chỗ là cái khung chỉ này cái hệ đan tu vào cái chỗ bán làm mai cái chỗ cho mọi người ông khổ nó đông cái mưa hình thổ gốc cái tu hình thổ gốc cái mưa cái hệ có cái hệ tục chú home team we pee we more one of them that chung the head to chung to chin thong being down the kada chin thong we go at the head and you know the cock down or he know good in it but chung gonna now more you cho im a bung had it man to im a bung had it be man to she now a machine now I think become home come nigga more.
Now, if you ask any one of them, do you want to continue staying in Malaysia, in India, or in Pakistan, or in Thailand for the...
My name is Lian, and I'm from Chin State, and I'm currently Program Director for Human Rights Program, and I'm here in Malaysia for a press release that we did yesterday in collaboration with ICC and other local Malaysia NGO to share the situation of the country of origin. We come up with a compilation of report that we documented for the past 3.5, 4 years, nearly 4 years.
Reports from organizations like CHRO and other individuals were compiled in a 2017 report commissioned by UNHCR. The report contained more descriptions of conflict and human rights abuses than peace and stability. These reports, called Country of Origin Information Reports, are used by UNHCR to assist in the refugee status determination process.
The cessation process has to come up with consultative and transparent way according to their own protocol and procedure from 1951 as well as 2003, but they have not done proper consultation and it is not transparent. So we demand the UNHCR to review their policy on cessation based on their own protocol and procedure that they have to follow.
Secession is a circumstance in which it is deemed not by the refugee, but usually by the states involved in the UNHCR, that you are no longer deserving of refugee protection because there has been a fundamental and lasting change in the country from which you've fled. And the determination is made that it's actually safe for you to return, so you no longer fit the refugee definition, and that protection ceases. And there are guidelines that the UNHCR is meant to follow in order to implement something like secession. Those guidelines are very specific about the circumstances and about the considerations that need to come into the discussion. Fundamental and enduring is the word that comes, or the words that come from the UNHCR guidelines. In a lot of cases, that's a fairly high threshold to reach. And I think that in the case of Myanmar, we're pretty far from reaching that threshold. We still have a number of very, very serious concerns about fundamental and enduring change in Myanmar.
But it does seem to me that there are different understandings of what constitutes safe and secure. And in that situation, I mean, whose standards should we play by?
Well, UNHCR is being given the mandate by the international community of states to decide whether somebody needs international protection or not. That's the job we've been given. We're a specialist agency. People might disagree with us, but we're the one with the responsibility for executing and implementing that set of mandated duties. And that's our expertise. If you've got a headache, you might think it's very serious. You go and see a specialist and they say, actually, it's a migraine, it will pass. You might disagree with the specialist, but the specialist assessment is still the one that's accurate. Look, I think this is... They still have the headache. The problem is that this is not an abstract legal issue. It's about people, it's about communities.
The guidelines also acknowledge that cessation can be harmful to refugees and should not be taken lightly. It also places importance on the refugees' sense of stability and encourages the parties involved to pursue naturalization of refugees before cessation.
naturalization makes a lot of sense, and there are clear pathways within refugee policy, international law, and precedent to explore that. And I think that with resettlement numbers, as they are, just much less than 1% of the global refugee population, and return options, what they are, especially in a country like Myanmar, that's the clear pathway forward. And why the push is for secession rather than naturalization, I couldn't tell you, because it doesn't make sense.
As far as the government is concerned, we don't have the capacity and the intention to keep so many people in this country, though we are not also in the business of chasing people out. I think we have been very magnanimous in many of the things that we do. We are not a signatory to the Refugee Convention, and yet we are behaving like we are a signatory to the convention. This is a decision that was made by UNHCR. They believe that the Chin community does not need protection anymore. Well, we stand guided by their decision.
In December, we partnered with a group of refugee organizations to produce the Chin Up Project, a collection of interviews with Chin refugees in Malaysia about their hopes and dreams beyond the cessation.
Here, as you see, we went to the refugee school. We make some interviewings for the student, what's their dreams in the future, and what they want to be in 2020.
Actually, yeah, I have a dream to become a billionaire.
I want to become a professional piano player.
I want her to be at the top music. What do you want to become again?
Composer.
Music composer.
These interviews were compiled onto a website, along with information about the Chin people and the cessation.
အဲ့လိုမျိုးဖြစ်တဲ့ချင်းကြတော့ကျမရဲ့အနာဂတ်ကမရှိတော့ဘူးလို့ပဲကျမအောင်မဲ့ခဲ့ပထမနိုင်ငံလည်းပြန်လို့မရဘူးဒီမှာလည်းဆက်နေလို့မရဘူး
We have so much things to do, especially for our educations.
ဘလို့မအင်မက်ဒီကိုအကောင့်ထဲပေါ်ခွင့်ရမယ့်အခြေအနေမရှိဘူးဖြစ်နေတယ်
Even though we are refugees, we also want to have a good future.
The website also allowed the public to email a petition directly to UNHCR and Malaysian authorities calling for the cessation to be reversed. Over 3,000 petitions would be sent out through the Chin Up Project. However, we never received an official response from UNHCR or the government about the campaign.
Other times, we play badminton. So we came back, and then then we decided to have dinner together with like our ACO staff. I saw like someone tagged me on the Facebook page, Facebook post. When I look at it, it was like about good news. When I read those, it was like maintaining protections for Chin refugee. So I was like so happy that
An tayare bo. Lolo seမျောလင်းချက်လေးတွေပြန်ရှင်တန်လာတယ်ပေါ့နော်မျောလင်းချက်လေးတွေပြန်ဖြစ်လာတယ်ပေါ့နောက်ပထမဆက်အောင်သွားတဲ့တွက်လဲအရင်ကျေးဇူးတင်တယ်ဒါပေမဲ့ဒီထက်မကလှုပ်ပေးရမယ့်ဟာတွေအများကြီးရှိသေးတယ်မျောလင်းရဲပေမဲ့လဲမျောလင်းချက်မရှိဘဲနဲ့တော့နေလို့လည်းမရဘူးဆိုတော့တာသမီတွေအတွက်ကတော့တို့ကလေးတွေအတွက်မျောလင်းချက်ထားနိုင်ဖို့ဆိုတာကျွန်တော်တို့၃နိုင်ငံပို့မှာပဲဖြစ်မယ်ဒီနိုင်ငံမှာကသူတို့အတွက်ဘာမှအခွင့်အရေးမရှိဘူးပညာရေးအတွက်လည်းအခွင့်အရေးမရှိဘူးလူမှုရေးအတွက်လည်းသူတို့မှာအခွင့်အရေးရှိဘူးဘာဆိုဘာမှသူတို့အတွက်မျောလင်းချက်အခွင့်အရေးမရှိဘူးဒီနိုင်ငံမှာ
So we heard that today some people went for renew their card to UNHCR and they received 2022 expiry date. So it's very good. For the next step should be asylum seeker and also those who are fled recently from Chin State so that they have to be protected.
Kamu tiap-tiap hari pukul berapa datang kerja? Pukul berapa?
Pagi ya? Pagi start 7, 12 start lihat. Pukul 2 start balik kerja.
Kalau macam tu anak siapa jaga?
Sekarang saya mini satu, saya satu. Karena restoran dia kerja, tapi tak boleh 2 orang lah satu.
ACR managed to help raise funds for his daughter's heart surgery, but she still needs further surgery, which the family cannot afford.
Chúng mình đã rồi mà siêu, tôi dùng mà chúng nó hóa thải nó, biến đông thải hóa UN, cái lối biểu giá bên mình, khu thể thì tôi mà khó là tiêu nó, tại vì chúng nó biến mà khó là tiêu biến, anh này hóa biến giá mà là hồ bị xịt tuần nó, biến số gì nào bộ, biến số gì em, cái cô phải cả hóa, số gì xịt thì đó xịt vào nó, rồi xịt thêm mà hóa rồi xịt vào. Tại vì biến giá mình hóa đặc khác thì nó áp dụng theo biến giá路線nó, biến giá khi đó bồi hóa thì phía mình xuân, cái lúc biến giá mình phải tùy路線nó, xịt vào là bộ. Biến giá khi thì xịt đó cái này nào biến sinh ra路線nó xịt thêm mà, và xịt ta cha bây giờ mà hóa xịt thêm mà nhiều bộ phận đó cái bộ xịt lại nó, biến giá mình phải tùy路線nó, xịt bông man, vấn đề là bộ vấn cho xuân là cái này nào cái tôi giờ tôi trả mà giờ tôi bỏ nó.
Although refugee protections for Chin were maintained, asylum seekers who already lost their UNHCR cards have not been reissued new cards.
You only gave back the card for those who are refugees?
Yes.
But those who are asylum seekers, they
No.
never got back the card?
No.
None of them?
None of them. So, but then after, so we keep pushing them. Now they said they will open up a channel for them to come back with interview. Yeah, because they don't have the right, and then and they are not granted any right to walk, and then for education also, and then for healthcare, and then so but then they still have to provide the families, and then they have to work for the living. So, and the most important thing is anytime they can be arrested, because Malaysians has no law to protect refugees.
Kamu ada pergi UN nggak hari?
Ya itu hari ada pergi lagi mau minta UN kak, ya lah itu perginya ke sana, dia polis tangkap kita bawa dia lui pun dia semua 1,000 lah dia semua angkat lagi tak boleh bayar tak lui lah kita balik sini tak pergi.
The non-recognition of refugee status by Malaysian government, that exposes them to harsh penalties, in particularly the Immigration Act that criminalizes them because the act would see them as undocumented, illegals, immigrants in Malaysia. There's also no regulations in terms of the right to work, the right to education, and there's always the constant fear of security threats, arrests, detention and deportation. Malaysia is a member state of the UN, and therefore we have a certain responsibility towards any human being that is living in Malaysia. It doesn't have to be solely citizen of Malaysia.
The new government's commitments in its manifesto has indicated that it wants to find ways to legalise refugees and to give them the right to work, and we will be discussing those issues with the government, and hope that Chin and other community groups, including Rohingya and Hmong and Karan and others, can also find a more stable legal basis for being here in Malaysia.
If refugees can work in certain sectors, then the Chin are already working in particular sectors of society. So there are ways of shifting them to a different kind of status here, which would be a migrant worker status, for example. And it's not a population which you can just repatriate easily in any case, so why not offer them another alternative? And I think that's something that the government can do.
We refugees are helping Malaysia economic as well. We are here in Malaysia. We are working for Malaysia in the future. If there is a chance, we really want to build a bridge between the Malaysian government and those who are in Malaysia as a refugee.
Coffee's here. I just took, gosh, my favorite coffee is no more.
James is now the acting chairman of ACR. He was assigned the position after the sitting chairman resigned.
So it's open. Hello, ACR.
You have a dream that's still in your heart. Is it important for your people to also be able to dream about the future?
This is how I always encourage them. Whenever I'm invited for a speech in the church or like something, I always tell them, please dream. If they have dreams, they can come out from some stress of being a refugee. For me, like, I'm a refugee, but then my dreams make me not to feel that refugee. I feel like I'm okay, like the same with you guys. This kind of feelings I have, because like the first time when I came to Malaysia, the first thing that I dreamed was like, what language that the local people speak, I must be able to speak. What they knows, I must know also. And then the skill that they have, I must have that skill also. Whatever they dreams, I must be able to dream those. The same with the locals. This is what I feel.